Two conversations brought me to tears today. One with my GP. We're discussing my treatment plan for my treatment-resistant depression that I've been experiencing for years, along with everything else. And she asked me about my history, like where I've been, all the cities I've lived in, all the courses I've studied, all the jobs I've had, and she's like, what are you doing now? And to be honest, I'm not really doing a whole lot now because I can't really do a whole lot now. And she said to me, like, what do you want to do? And I was like, what do you mean? She's like, well, what do you want to do? And I said, well, there's two answers to that question, There's what I, as a person, want to do or wanted to do with my life, and there's what I've had to settle for because of my illness. Like, I wanted to be a lawyer. I just read a letter that I wrote to myself when I was like 15, and it was like goals to achieve in life, and I was meant to be a lawyer by now. I always wanted to be a lawyer. My illness took that away from me. I had to drop out of law school. And, I've always been creative and loved history, so the next thing I wanted to be was a museum curator or an art director. And I was on my way to doing that. I was studying, and I was... My illness took that away from me too. My ability to function and my ability to live in other places from where I'm living right now. There's nothing I want to do than be in a city and meet new people. But at the same time, I can't meet new people when I'm like this. I can't function when I'm like this. I just can't. The thought of like meeting new people and going to new places and living in a new place is absolutely terrifying because I've done it so many times before and just fallen on my ass because I can't do it. Like, there is so much my illness has taken away from me. And there is so much that my illness has forced me to, like, make sacrifices with. Sure, I'd love to be able to work full time. I'd love to be able to keep my shit together long enough to, work for a couple of months consistently. I'd love to not be in the psych ward twice a year. I'd love to not have to go to therapy once a week and then see my GP once a week and then see my psychiatrist. And I'd love to not have to pay for those appointments. And I'd love to not have to make sure I go to bed at a reasonable hour every day and that I limit the amount of coffee that I take and that I can't drink. And, there are just so many things that I don't do because of my illness, either because I'm forced to do or I've made a choice not to do them so that I can get over my illness. But it just feels like a life sentence. I know that it's a life sentence. Being bipolar is a life sentence along with some of my other mental illnesses. So I know that I'm going to have to deal with it every second of every day. I used to think that it would get better. But it doesn't get better. You just get used to dealing with it. You just get used to it being there and learning how to live with it there. And learning how to live with it means changing everything about your life. Like, fuck yeah, I would do things differently if I wasn't mentally ill. But I am. And I can't change that. All I can change is the way that I deal with it. The way that I try and overcome it. And I work so fucking hard. So hard. And I guess it really just brought me to tears today when I was speaking to my doctor about it because there is so much that I wanted to do. And I don't even want to do those things anymore because it just hurts so much not being able to do them. I just learned it was easier to not want things because then you're not going to be disappointed and heartbroken when your illness gets in the way. And then the second conversation I had that brought me to tears was a conversation with my mother. My doctor had spoken to me about going into a rehabilitation mental health unit which sounds like a really, really awesome idea. We nutted out the details and she thinks it's great and I think it's great. So I basically just told my mother what I was doing and she just laughed at me. She's like, we're not supporting you if you're going to go into hospital for that long. And just like every conversation I seem to have with everyone around me, it's like, you've been fucking mentally ill for long enough now. Get over it. You know, people just keep saying to me, well, you know what? You just need to try. I'm fucking trying as hard as I can. You don't even know the definition of hard work until you're trying as hard as you can and getting nowhere. And you've been consistently getting nowhere for years and years. And you're still trying. You're working even harder to deal with it, to overcome it, to work on it. And the fact that people just don't recognize or acknowledge that hard work, or worse still, they belittle it, is just really frustrating and heartbreaking. It's like, I know everything that's going to come out of your fucking mouth because everyone says the same stupid ass things. There is only two things that I do not know, and that is that you care about me and you support me. Because those are the things that you don't say. And those are the things that you don't do. So all I'm left with is your stupid comments and your stupid remarks telling me to just get over it already. Telling me it's all in my head. Making me feel like I'm choosing to do this to myself because I am not. It's insulting and it's patronizing. And to be honest, it makes me feel 10 times worse. It makes me feel like, why even try if I'm getting nowhere and people are just going to put shit on me? What's the point in even trying at all? I mean, there was a time in my life where I could achieve anything I set my mind to before I got really sick. And now unachievable goals is like showering once a day, brushing my hair once a week, like leaving the house. I haven't taken my dog for a walk in months. I can't work, I can't do anything because I am just so physically exhausted. And it's not just about challenging my thoughts. It's not about just trying to be happy and suddenly you'll be happy. It just really, really gets to me. And it pains me to know that other people feel like this too. And that nobody understands what it's like. Yet they're willing to have an opinion about it. They're willing to tell you what they think it's like, but not willing to actually try and understand. People only ever listen with the intent to reply. Maybe we should all just try to listen with the intent to understand. Maybe then there'd be a whole lot less stigma around mental health. Because as much as I suffer and as much as my illness makes me endure so much pain, it hurts 10 times more when the people around me open their mouth. Don't say anything. Don't say anything at all. Even when you say I care and I'm here for you, all I'm thinking in my head is, you're not there for me, so therefore you don't care. You shouldn't have to say you're there for someone, you should just be there. Anyway, that's my rant for today.